What's up, guys? Today we'll be talking about the S24 FE versus the S21 FE as requested. And I do want to mention that the S21 FE is one of my favorite budget phones to recommend to people, so you guys will see why. This phone is very cheap as well too. It's under 200 bucks. Sometimes you can find it for like 150 bucks. This is a used refurbished version as well too, so I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this comparison. So let's start off with the hardware. You do have a matte finish. Now this is a plastic back on the S21 FE. You have a glass back on the S24, and you definitely, can notice a difference. You can definitely tell like this is the more kind of premium looking phone, I guess. But I do like the plastic back on here. One, you don't have to worry about it cracking as easily like the glass, and then also it's a matte finish, so it's not gonna pick up like fingerprints and stuff like that, depending on the color as well. But this one doesn't really show fingerprints because of the color I got. So this is a glossy back. Now the next thing you'll notice is actually the camera. So the camera little cutout bump is gone, and now you just have these three big cameras now on here. But as far as the hardware, they both have the metal sides on here as well too. So like I said, the S21 FE doesn't feel cheap at all. And like I said, I like the plastic back on here. It's not terrible. And then also what you will notice is that the S24 feels a little bit kind of sharp on like the sides. But it's still smooth at the bottom here. So they're both pretty comfortable phones to hold for the most part. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. Next most important thing about this upgrade here is the display size. You now have a much bigger display on the S24 FE with a 6.7 inch display. It's dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz HDR10+. It has a higher max brightness at 1900 nits. And then we also do still have the 1080p resolution at 385 for the PPI with Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. The S21 FE has a 6.4 inch display. It's dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz HDR10+ as well. It's still 1080p 403 for the PPI with Gorilla Glass Victus. Alright, so one of the things that you will kind of notice here is that you do have the specs, you have a higher screen to body ratio on the S24 FE. So it is a 88% screen to body ratio, and the S21 FE reads about 86.7. So you guys could see the difference here. But what's interesting is that the S21 FE, it looks slimmer at the top though. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. So it just overall looks a little bit more premium, I guess, especially like at the top. They are kind of even at the bottom here, but it still looks kind of slimmer at the bottom. So as I said, I'm not really sure about that spec. Maybe it's because of the display size and stuff like that. Maybe that's the way it's making it look. But the S21 FE, to me at least, it does look a little bit like it's got slimmer bezels. But yeah, so overall display quality is pretty much the same. So I was asked yesterday, did I have the S24 FE on Vivid? Yes, it is on Vivid, and I don't know what's up with the newer Samsung panels, but they just aren't as colorful, I guess. Samsung had this problem with the S24 as well too, with these panels not being as vivid. But yeah, so that's one thing, but they still look pretty good. I don't think most people would really notice. But yeah, excellent display. So I would say the biggest thing here with the display upgrade is really going to be the max brightness. So that means that if you're outdoors and it's sunny outside, you're at the beach, this phone will look much better than the S21 FE. And yeah, so that is pretty much it. Like I said, there's not really too much with the display here. Let's talk about the specs a little bit more here. So we do have the Exynos 2400E on the S24, and then we also have 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The S21 FE, we do have the Snapdragon AAA processor with 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM. You guys can see the score difference here. You do have a pretty nice score difference here, especially in that multi-core score. But overall, this is going to be a much faster phone in general. So check the app loading and animations. Now, they're both running One UI 6, and I do want to talk about that. But we can see the S24 is going to be a little bit snappier. The S21 FE is not really slow by any means, and animation wise it's pretty much still very, very smooth for the most part. I never really see this phone really lagging and stuff like that. Let's try Geometry Dash. So you guys can see they're pretty much on par. So that's why I always tell people not to really worry about speed, especially with the flagship processor. They're really built to last. Now, one thing you will notice is that this phone will get a lot warmer than this phone. This phone has really been impressing me with how cool it's been. Let's go ahead and launch a game here. San Andreas. Yeah, pretty much on par with each other. Very, very impressive. Yeah, guys, so I would say overall slightly a little bit faster on the S24 FE. Animation wise, the S21 FE still does great. And then let's talk about the overall gaming experience here. Gaming has been fine on here. There's not really any game that I haven't been able to play on the S21 FE. Like I said, the thing you'll notice is that this phone will heat up a little bit, and then we're at the highest settings on San Andreas here. And the S21 FE, this phone will do a much better job with gaming. So I'll show you guys. We'll hop into PUBG here. But this phone, it will do a better job with gaming. I would say if you are more of a, competitive gamer, then you'll definitely like this phone here for the most part. But this phone looks really good when it's also gaming as well too. So if you are a gamer, I would say it's a pretty decent upgrade. But if you're a casual gamer, it's not really necessary. So a example of this is for a game like PUBG, we can see there's no 90 frames or 120 frames on here. It does play very smoothly at 60 frames. So like I said, you can game on this phone, no problem. But if you are a more competitive mobile gamer, then you'll see here that we can actually play at much higher settings on this Exynos chipset here. So you guys can see we have 120 frames on here. So that's kind of like the big difference you'll notice with gaming like Fortnite, Genshin, PUBG. These games are going to be just run better on the S24. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras on both of these devices here. So the S21 FE, it does have a 12 megapixel standard, an 8 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 4K 60 with a 32 megapixel selfie that also shoots in 4K 60, and you have 30x max zoom. On the S24 FE, we have a 50 megapixel standard, an 8 megapixel telephoto. We also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K 30, and then we also have a 10 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60 here, and this one also can go up to 30x max zoom. So check out these side-by-side stills. Let me know what you guys think. speakers at max volume, we'll start with the S21 FE. So it's definitely a big upgrade in the bass department. Yeah, overall this is a pretty good speaker upgrade. It's making the S21 FE sound flat, honestly. I didn't know it was that flat. Yeah, it makes it sound flat. It makes it almost sound like there's no bass there. So the S21 FE, decent speaker, but you can clearly hear the upgrade here, so definitely a better speaker. As far as the biometrics go, they're both still rocking the same fingerprint sensor, so they both still have the optical fingerprint sensor, which works. You can also use face unlock as well. Alright, so I do want to talk about the software here. So the S21 FE, it does not have the Galaxy AI features here. It's got the circle to search feature here, but that's pretty much about it. This phone will also still get a few more updates as well too. The S24 FE will actually get the full 7 years of updates as well, which is really nice. And then also this phone, it does have the Galaxy AI features. Now this is something that is basically something you have to care about here. I'm not a big fan of the AI stuff yet. It's not super useful to me. I like circle to search, but Samsung has a lot of stuff on here, like the photos application can do a lot of AI stuff. You have the translation assistant on here, the notes can summarize, you got live interpretation, call assist, so there's quite a bit of stuff that you can do with the Galaxy AI. It's got the drawing, so you can draw stuff and it'll turn it into AI art and stuff like that. So it's something that you have to kind of care about. The AI stuff will get better as the years go on as well too, so this is just kind of like the beginning of Galaxy AI. So definitely, if that's something that interests you, that could be a big factor in you upgrading. Talking about battery life, surprisingly the S21 FE does not have bad battery life. So it's got a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt charging. It's also got the wireless and reverse wireless charging, and it's pretty much the same thing with the S24 FE, besides it has a slightly bigger battery at 4,700 milliamps, but all the rest of the charging specs are still the same. So did I notice a massive battery improvement? Not really. One thing that I noticed is that the S24 FE has better standby time, but that's pretty much it. Like when I first got this phone, I was always surprised at the battery life. Now if you're doing more intense stuff, then this phone should do better in terms of battery life, but if you're more of a power user. But if you're not, like me, I'm a lighter user, so I didn't really notice that. You can get through the day with the S21 FE, pretty well. So that is pretty much it. That pretty much sums it up. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.